You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. We're joined now by Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther. Mayor, you previously were with us in a previous shooting took place there in Columbus. There was a lot of confusion on that 911 phone call. Has it been established that it was Ms. Bryant who called 911 for assistance?
Well, Roland, thank you for having me. On such a tragic day here in the city, and not only am I the mayor here, I'm a father, and to have lost the dear life of a 16-year-old in our city is tragic and heartbreaking. But I appreciate you having me on. We haven't been able to confirm that yet, and that won't be confirmed and validated until an independent investigation is conducted by the Bureau of Criminal Investigation and overseen by the state that is conducting the investigation right now. So we don't know who the caller was from that 911 call. There were two calls made. We heard the one, another one came in, but the caller hung up quickly after the police arrived on the scene.
And so there are so many questions, obviously. The scene where she was killed, was that her home?
I can't confirm that. I believe that we were notified last night by Franklin County Children's Services that she was a foster child in placement, and I believe that was where she resided as a foster child. One of the things we've been really focused on here is, as you've already alluded to, is getting as much information out to the public as quickly as possible, really trying to make sure they're being transparent as possible. We had this body-worn camera footage out within hours of the incident. Today, we released more footage, the 911 calls, and we're going to continue to share information with the public. I think in a high-profile police-involved shooting like this, where a city and a community is furious at the continued death of African Americans at the hands of law enforcement. The last time I was with you was after Andre Hill was shot, an unarmed African American in our community, and we took swift action to terminate former Officer Coy, and he's already been indicted and will be facing charges in a court of law. We intend to have the same sort of swift action, making sure that we're being as transparent as possible, getting footage out, getting these 911 calls out, letting the Bureau of Criminal Investigation conduct this independent investigation, which is new to our city. I signed an executive order last summer that any death in custody inside the city of Columbus or police-involved shooting had to be investigated independently for the first time in our city's history, and we think that's an important part to transparency and accountability and independence.
Do you know if the officer, do you know if he also had a taser?
All of our officers are outfitted with multiple tools, and so I don't know if he had a taser on him at that moment. That's something that I think will be confirmed by the investigation. But all of our officers, as you know, in our previous conversations, body-worn cameras were my top priority when I was running for mayor back in 2015. And we implemented for the first time in the city's history body-worn cameras on all of our officers by the end of 2016. And in fact, after the death of Andre Hill, we are making a significant new investment to upgrade our body-worn camera technology because we believe that it helps with accountability on both sides of the camera. And it gives us the ability to be more transparent when things like this happen, to get that footage out to the public so they can see actually what happened on the scene. And so all of the things, a lot of the questions you may have, I know will be finalized and investigated fully by BCI.
Because we saw in the video there, we saw where Officer Reardon, after, first of all, he came on saying, hey, what's going on? And after he fires the shots, he tells other folks around, she had a knife, she was going to stab the other girl. The moment I saw it, I began to, again, I'm sitting here, lots of questions. Was this her home? Was Ma'khia defending herself? Does stand your ground apply? And what really jumped out was, again, coming to that scene. It's a chaotic scene. A gun in the hands of a police officer, that is the most lethal of all weapons. And the first thing I thought of, why wasn't that taser fired to take her down and then assess, okay, what's going on this scene? Because, again, some people are on social media going, oh, he saved the life of the girl in pink. Well, first of all, we don't know who she was. Was she an aggressor? Was Bryant trying to defend herself? None of that was ascertained before those shots were fired in 22 seconds.
Well, and that's why this independent investigation is so important, and so the BCI will be interviewing all of the witnesses. They'll be gathering evidence. They'll determine if there were any, violations of both law, and then the Division of Police will look at if there were any violations of police policy and procedure as well. So there, potential criminal review as well as policy and administrative review. If this officer did not comply with, both legal and policy guidance from the Division of Police and state law.
Have you communicated with the mother, the grandmother of Ma'khia Bryant?
Our office has been in touch with her mother. She was having difficulty getting information about her daughter's body, and we put her in contact last evening with a contact person at the county coroner's office. And so both the Division of Police and my office have been in touch with the family.
Now, it is, the thing that I keep saying, even after Derek Chauvin was found guilty, George Floyd was 46 years old, can't be brought back. Ma'khia Bryant, 16. I mean, lethal force, there's no flip side to death. That's it. And it is shocking and stunning.
There's Roland. There's a sacred bond that law enforcement has with the community. Law enforcement isn't given their power by some supreme being. It's granted to them by the community. Police officers have exceptional power. Power you and I don't have. The governor and the president doesn't have the ability to stop someone, to detain someone, to question someone, to take away their freedom and arrest someone, and ultimately to use force and potentially take an individual life. So with that great power comes great responsibility and oversight and accountability, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this circumstance as we have in other police-involved shootings. Independence, transparency, accountability.
LeBron James sent out a tweet calling for accountability of the police officer involved here. Since the previous shooting, you talked about body camera footage, you talked about policy and procedures. Has there also been additional training, additional review, additional conversations with police officers in terms of how they handle situations along those lines? Because, again, for me, if a taser is fired, if it brings her down, hey, taser's hurt, but she's still living. And so what has been happening internally within the department with your police officers in dealing with this here?
There's been additional training around implicit bias, de-escalation, and use of force since the last time I was with you. We have a new June police class that starts in June. It will be the most diverse police class because, as you know, it's part of the overall comprehensive reform. We need a division of police that reflects the beautiful diversity of this community, and it doesn't. It doesn't even come close right now. And our goal and vision is to double the number of officers of color on the Division of Police over the next 10 years. So this June class, there will be additional implicit bias training as well as de-escalation and community engagement training to make sure that our officers, when they come out of the academy, are able to serve and protect everybody in the community. And as you know, we are in the process of setting up a civilian review board for the first time in our city's history, who will have an inspector general and subpoena power to be able to investigate and make recommendations for discipline for police misconduct. So it's part of our comprehensive effort to reform the Division of Police and go from a 20th century law enforcement organization to a 21st century community policing organization, which requires us to make a major cultural shift. I'm also in the process right now of hiring the first external chief of police in our city's history. It will be somebody from outside the Division of Police, a transformational leader that will help us change the culture of the Columbus Division of Police.
Samuel Sinyagwe, who is a data specialist, Stafford University. He's worked with Campaign Zero. He sent this tweet out at 1:34 this morning. Columbus police have killed more than 40 people since 2013. Black people were killed at 5 times a higher rate than white people. Data shows 6% of Columbus officers do 50% of all use of force. But when one finally gets fired, the police union contract mandated arbitrator reinstates them. Is that correct? Are you aware? Is that the situation there in Columbus?
Yeah, I can't speak to all the statistics. I'd be happy to confirm or get confirmation on those things. What I think is correct is the fact that we have a broken FOP contract. And one of the things that we're working very hard on in this round of negotiations, and quite honestly, I started when I became mayor, is to really get an FOP contract where the community has influence and it has an impact and input on discipline, oversight, and accountability. And that's why the Civilian Review Board is so important. But there are many issues that we need to change in the FOP contract, because the FOP contract as it currently stands is a major barrier to reform, to dealing with issues like police misconduct, use of force. And I think the last part of that tweet is absolutely right. I have fired, the safety director has fired, officers who have used unacceptable levels of force, only to be reinstated by a mediator. Absolutely unacceptable. Officers who have stomped suspects who were in custody laying down in the street, reinstated and given back pay. I mean, we have an entire system, not just here, but in cities across the country, that has to be addressed and fixed because, quite honestly, the people of this city and cities across America do not feel as if they control and are in charge of their divisions of police.
Mayor, hate to ever talk to you under these conditions, but certainly we're going to be continuing to cover this story. Prayers certainly go out to the Bryant family, and it's just tragic that this honor roll student, 16 years old, has lost her life.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Please continue to lift the Bryant family up. We are as a community, and really trying to focus on where we go from here. How can we demand justice, reform, and change, but doing so in a peaceful way? And so thanks for the chance to come on, and look forward to talking more about our progress and success the next time we're together.
Mayor Ginther, we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.